always been very good, you know?
Yes.
And coming back, it's like Lightning Bolt coming back. You think Lightning Bolt's going to be good? Yeah, guess what? Lightning Bolt's good. So is Rancor.
We start out with a cliff top retreat from Brad Nelson facing off versus a Forest. 354 players today. That makes for 9 rounds of Swiss.
No, Brad playing Ichor Wellspring. His deck uses a lot of Wellsprings in order to capitalize on the trading post. The ability to sacrifice the Wellsprings makes them into virtual 3-for-1s. You get a card on the way in, a card on the way out, plus you get whatever card you traded it for. So Green Sun Zenith fetching Birds of Paradise. Josh trying to I guess, do you imagine that most people will know Brad's deck list?
I mean, it was published, so if he is a regular reader, if Joshua Alvarez is a regular reader, he will have an opportunity to have a sense of it, but I would be surprised if even a regular reader would know the intricacies of what's on the list unless they are a true Brad Nelson superfan.
Like, it's really important to have an idea, you know, like, does he have Whip Flare or Slagstorm? You know, when you're trying to commit, does he, you know, is he using Tumble Magnet or Pillar of Flame?
And we see a third land from Brad. Brad sacking with the Phyrexia's Core, the Wellspring, to draw a card. Perhaps low on mana. Green Suns for 2 from Joshua.
I think it's interesting to see Brad using 4 Phyrexia's Cores and 4 trading posts, just going full on all the way. Brad's deck really is set up to abuse the trading post a lot more than some of the decks that are merely using it as a nice little draw engine. He has Nile Spellbomb and 7 Wellsprings, plus the ability to pitch, plus recursing Solemn Simulacrums, Metamorphs, Wormcoils. I mean, every card in his deck is just so well designed to take advantage of trading post.
His sideboard includes 1 Mindslaver for the full-on lock if he gets the Mindslaver trading post going.
Oh, he does have 1 Increasing Ambition as his other black card. Little spice.
And a Geist and a bird facing off against land. Rancor. Will this work? It does.
A second Rancor.
Brad's deck has no instant ways to handle a creature in the main deck.
Wow.
That's going to make Rancor a particularly difficult card for Brad.
He needs a Tumble Magnet real fast. Wow, this is...
Brad looks like he's falling.
Well, he...
A Wormcoil Engine could turn this right around.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting, he puts the Mox Opal into play in case he has to sack it to gain 1 life. Like, times are tough.
In for 6. Incinerate, Beast Within, and Huntmaster. Wow, that is a bold Huntmaster. I believe that means that there are no creatures left in Joshua Alvarez's hand. Is there a Day of Judgment? It's like a Tumble Magnet. Am I wrong?
Brad decides to play the Wormcoil Engine. Wormcoil Engine, very effective against Beast Within.
Joshua right now. Do you think he's going to cast Beast Within on the Wormcoil Engine and then attack? Or actually attack, use the Beast Within after blocks, and then...
Incinerate.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the game. If he sees the play.
Yeah.
He can Beast Within his own guy too, that the Wormcoil is fighting, either way. Because if the Wormcoil Engine blocks the Rancor... Now, if he hits the Wormcoil, it's even better because he'll trample over.
Yeah, trample over the 0, because the Wormcoil will be gone after the blocks. Rancor, not a bad card.
Anybody at home wondering just how are you supposed to be using Rancor? Stuff like this, you know? You put Rancor on your little aggressive creature, get in there, and if the other person doesn't react, it is not going to be a very long game.
Yeah, Brad needed this Wormcoil last turn. And there's the Beast Within. The trample from Rancor is going to make this a lethal attack now. Okay, that's it.
So, moving to the sideboard, Brad, it looks like, is going to have primarily timely reinforcements and Day of Judgment. Do you suppose Oblivion Ring and Ratchet Bomb, are they coming in? Oblivion Ring gives him an answer to Strangleroot Geist, but it's an inefficient way to go.
Well, he's at least going to want Timely's. The rest... Brad said he's tested this deck a lot. I mean, if you look, he's sideboarding pretty quickly. He knows what he wants to do. He's got a plan. He's tested it out. And that's a lot of cards he's pulling out. I have not tested this deck at all, so I could see arguments for either of those other two cards. I just don't know which way he wants to go. Maybe he's going to bring in all of those cards.
On the other side
we
of it...
got three Ancient Grudges to start with Josh Alvarez's sideboard.
Whew.
I mean, he saw Wormcoil, he saw Wellspring, and he saw Phyrexian Core, so he knows that it's worthwhile.
Do you like Zealous Conscript in this matchup?
I like Zealous Conscript against any deck that has some big thing it does. And so he saw a Wormcoil Engine. A Wormcoil Engine is not a card you want to be facing against when you're a red-green deck. But if you can get your opponent down to 8, a Wormcoil Engine means they die.
9.
9, my bad. Bad on the math. 9.
Plus, Zealous Conscript's a fine man against red-white anyway. I mean, Whip Flare, it's hasty to get through Day of Judgment.
Right. If they happen to have Gideon, it stops the Gideon's plus ability for that turn.
Which
and
he does.
Brad has it, yeah.
What do you think about Thundermaw? Any chance he just wants a flyer to go over the top at the end, or is that just too much expensive stuff?
You know,
because he's not going to really want all this. Like, he probably can cut down on, like, for instance, he doesn't want Bonfire, does he?
He definitely doesn't want Bonfire. But as for the expensive stuff, Thundermaw hits so hard that even though it's expensive, but when you cast it, it's not like you're waiting a turn for the damage. You're getting the damage in immediately, and then you're going to get it in the next time, so that you can actually potentially have someone have a Wormcoil draw and be able to put down the clock that will be able to deal with it. Like, let's say they cast the Wormcoil first, and you top deck your Thundermaw, and you hit them for 5, and then they come back, knock you for 6. All it takes is a little bit of delaying tactics on that Wormcoil, whether it's an Ancient Grudge, a Beast Within, or anything, and your Thundermaw can race it even if it's hit you. So I don't have a problem with Thundermaw against a deck that looks like Brad's does. Now, of course, Josh basically saw Brad's deck do nothing except for cast 1 Wormcoil Engine. So
yeah, we've definitely seen that Josh can defeat a turn 5 or a turn 6 Wormcoil Engine with no other interaction, other than, I guess, gaining 1 life. But I think I like Josh's chances after boarding too. 3 Ancient Grudges.
That's huge.
It's just, I mean, it's a
lot to overcome. I mean, Brad really leans on his Wormcoil Engine
and his trading post.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he has Strangleroot Geist and Rancor, plus, at the end of the day, I mean, Sword of War and Peace and Zealous Conscript are going to be very, very big. It's interesting to see that Alvarez has access to Silverheart, Wolfear Silverheart, Thragtusk, Zealous Conscript, Thundermaw. I mean, we're seeing more of that actual 5 is the new 6, you know?
I, for one, am looking forward very much to Return to Ravnica. Not only for the new cards, but also to get rid of some things that have maybe seen a lot of time in the sun and are just a little worn out for me. Titans, I loved you, but you can go.
Yeah, I mean, I for one welcome our Return to Ravnica overlords that are on the horizon. Isn't it Niv Mizzet? Doesn't it look like he's back? Like, isn't the promo thing?
That would be sweet.
Jason Niv Mizzet are kicking it again?
Nihil Spellbomb on turn 1 off of a Plains for Brad Nelson.
Yeah, not completely just a cycling card for the engine, but also it is a tool against Strangleroot Geist and Rancor.
And we have a Wellspring. Alvarez dropping a mana, but does not cast the bird in his hand because he did not have the appropriate forest or Copperline Gorge to make the turn 1 bird happen. There it is on turn 2.
That's the thing about Birds of Paradise, though. Even the turn 2 Birds of Paradise is still fair. That's when it's, you know, that is the right cost for the accelerators normally.
And 3 land for Brad Nelson. 2 Wellsprings. And now we see that late to the party forest.
Had it. Yeah, that is definitely a list of artifacts you don't want to grudge.
And I think we're going to see
Huntmaster,
a Huntmaster. Right? He has a Green Sun Zenith, but at 3, He could be going for a 2 and get a Geist, but I think he's going to cast Huntmaster. We'll see.
Master of the Hunt.
Oh, aggro. Did not see the Rancor, but once the first one works, maybe the second one works. What about this third one?
Wow. That was in his hand? Okay.
I
Well, I guess that's a 6 ball lightning from here on out. There's nothing but groundbreaking.
I see a Whip Flare. Okay. Please put it down. Yeah, Spell Bomb. Whip Flare.
Oh my god, this is going to be devastating.
Once they're in the yard, let's get them.
Oh, all of your eggs are in one basket?
Boom.
That's weird. So, Alvarez...
Really cast Ball Lightning.
At least he has Greens and Zenith for Strangleroot Geist to keep the pressure going.
The thing about Rancor, usually if you put all your eggy eggs in one basket, not a big deal. But every once in a while, you get hit for it.
There are ways to interact. I mean, Rancor is not just a free roll. So Strangleroot Geist coming down. Alvarez really needs to draw another land now. I just keep thinking, like, if he would have just played that Huntmaster, he would have got hit by the same Whip Flare, and there would have been the same cycling, but then next turn, he could go Strangleroot Geist and follow it up with 3 Rancors.
Yep.
You know, it just seems like such a...
It was a play that was maybe premature.
Now, he didn't see Whip Flare last game. Remember last game?
But I mean, there was a Nihil Spellbomb in play when he did it. So, I mean, he knows that if Brad wants...
Has anything.
In for 2.
Continuing with the pressure. It may also have just been that he's never played against Nihil Spellbomb.
And there's 6.
I mean, this is a...
That's a Wormcoil. And there's the first of the many grudges.
It's going to be so important to flashback Grudge to be able to hit the life-linking token.
Whoa, is that Link, kind of?
It definitely looks like some fan art of Link.
Link is pretty good with a sword and a flute. And here we see Huntmaster. And Brad right now has a timely, has less creatures than his opponent and less life.
It's the perfect time to do it. It's interesting though. He might be correctly anticipating Josh's Bonfire, which it looks like Josh both kept in and still has in his hand.
And Brad also has a Whip Flare in his hand. So Whip Flare would actually crush all of the creatures. The Geist would return, but Brad's Worm tokens would not be hurt by, well, would not be finished off by the Whip Flare. So there are 2 reasonable ways to go with this. And if he just wants to get his life higher, he could do both. You know, do one and then the other and just never mind the tokens. Right now, if Brad is thinking, there's another Wormcoil.
It's interesting that he does not wait for the Grudge to get flashed back. That turn, maybe he was playing around, like, just, is this the Brad Nelson of old, calculating all the different possible ways that the game could have played out, where, you know, if he doesn't play the Wormcoil, if he just timelies, he gets hit by Bonfire, or, I mean...
We have a flip of the Huntmaster. 2 and 2.
It does seem so dangerous to let Alvarez keep the Huntmaster. We'll see.
Now Brad knows the, he's going to attack with the lifelink and the big one.
This way, the big one draws the Grudge. I think he's hoping that the small one gets eaten by the Huntmaster, and then he Whip Flares for max value. There's the Grudge. We'll see if Alvarez walks right into Brad's plan. He does. Man, I would have liked to see the Stringer Geisen Wolf token block the the lifelinker here. For Alvarez's sake, anyway. This whip flare is going to be devastating. What do you think the chances are that Brad replaces the scrap of paper with his link token?
I hope he does. Not high enough for my liking. Whip flare. Goodbye, everybody but the Geist from Josh's side.
What's tricky is that Brad still doesn't get any life from the or he doesn't get any tokens from Timely if he chooses to do it. But he may just wait some more, right?
I mean, you can still cast the Timely just to gain the life. It might be worth doing just to be safe. The core gains a life. That's fair.
So it looks like he replaced the scrap of paper with a die.
I like Link better than that 3.
Yeah, same.
Okay, a bonfire for 3 would be pretty powerful here. Does not happen.
He didn't draw Black Lotus this turn. But if he divinations, hopefully he'll draw both a Grey Ogre and a Black Lotus, and use the Black Lotus on the bonfire. Alright, Alvarez plays Llanowar Elf.
2 mana away from hard casting the bonfire in his hand for 3, but
Oh, you're hoping for the miracle.
the miracle.
That would be brutal.
And we see Brad draw another card, gain another life.
Yeah, that's the thing about bonfire. It's funny. It's definitely 2 different cards. Both are actually real good. One of them just doesn't even seem fair. Like, it doesn't even seem like it should be.
Yeah, the Miracled Bonfire is just so impressive that when it was printed and finally released on M13, I remember sitting in a hotel room after an SCG trying to decide whether I wanted to put down however many tickets it was for each of them. And in the end, I just did it so I could play the deck I wanted to play.
I mean, have you had the pleasure of drafting with bonfire yet?
Yes, if you want to call that a pleasure.
Or the sick joke that is playing against it? Alright, so Brad up to 8 mana with a Nile Spellbomb, 3 worms, game quickly slipping out of hand. At this point, Alvarez is actually going to have to establish control. Because, like, there's no more racing at this point, right? I mean...
He could get a, what? He's got an ability to green suns for 4, get a Huntmaster, and somewhat stabilize on the table, so long as another Whip Flare doesn't happen.
Now, what's the point when you're playing these aggro decks? Occasionally, you're going to have to switch into the controlling role. Like, for instance, if you're playing mono red, when do you decide?
Ooh, Wilfir Silverheart.
That's going to stabilize, right?
Oh wow, more than he comes in.
Very aggressive.
In for 7, knocking Brad down to 9.
What is the point when you're playing these aggro decks that you decide you're going to have to go bigger than the other person instead of just fast?
If there's this really interesting push and pull on it. Looks like Brad's coming back in with everybody. And Alvarez takes it.
Doesn't block? Doesn't even block the lifelinker?
Apparently not. Day. Spellbomb. Gets an Icker. Gets... Is that a post? Wow. Josh could be at 3 more life right now. Top deck's a Huntmaster. Casts it.
Keeping it interesting. Alvarez with 4 mana and a Huntmaster and a Wolf. Brad sacking his Wellspring going to 13, but more importantly, sitting with 9 mana and a growing
Gideon.
grip.
I just saw him rip Gideon.
Gideon is particularly dangerous for Alvarez just because of the ability to make all of Alvarez's creatures attack and then Gideon hit for 6.
Timely for 3 tokens.
It's great to see the patience on Brad Nelson waiting on this
Gideon.
Timely.
When you finish your match,
Incinerate, Bonfire, and Green Sun Zenith in Joshua Alvarez's hand.
Wow, so did he just So is he gonna bonfire and then redirect to Gideon and attack with?
I
It's
think
not
so.
enough. It's not enough to kill. The problem he can't.
He can incinerate as well. Will that do it?
It's no. He's if he doesn't kill
he needs
Gideon,
a
he
land.
needs a blocker.
He needs a land. If he had one
Does he have
land,
Rancor?
I cannot tell what he drew.
Oh, he's
I think
still
it's a
one
red
mana
spell.
short. Yeah, if he doesn't have a land for incinerate, because if he goes bonfire for one, redirect to Gideon,
Ooh, I
attack
think
with
he
both
drew.
guys.
I think he drew another incinerate. I think he has 2 incinerates. So he can during his upkeep do it. If that is a second incinerate.
Well, no,
that he
he's going to
drew.
have to attack with the Huntmaster.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because once he attacks with both creatures, as long as Brad double blocks the Huntmaster and single blocks the Wolf, Alvarez is dead. But I don't think Alvarez has had any other play. He has to hope that Brad just lets the Wolf through, you know? Wow. An impressive sequence by Brad Nelson. Very well played. And he
doesn't even try.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot of credit. Is this the Brad Nelson striking fear and intimidating all of his opponents circa 2010?
Are you talking about Player of the Year, Brad Nelson?
Player of the Year Brad Nelson would definitely be the type of guy to get a concession in that spot. Wow, maybe Brad, then again, we can't hear the players. Maybe Brad just put him out of his misery and told him, here's what I'm going to do. Of course, that's even more intimidating than the fact that Brad Nelson knows all of the things you could potentially be doing and explains to you why you're already dead. Unbelievable.
It's sort of like if he were to say that Ace could not have helped you, and then have it truly been the win for him. And Brad Nelson on the left here, back to the sideboard. I'm not sure what he's going to change too terribly much after his first sideboard game. Now he's going to be on the draw, so it is a big difference in terms of certain cards, but I don't know what cards he knows them to be.
Brad Nelson's also a tricky veteran. He's the type of guy who he might have, 2 Oblivion Rings in his main deck now and 1 Oblivion Ring in his sideboard, and this is the correct configuration. And the first thing he does is pull the Oblivion Ring out of his sideboard
And get the other.
pull the Oblivion Ring out of his deck, switch him so it's clear he made a transaction, but it didn't really change anything. He wants to make sure that his opponent, things are different. He wants his opponent to not have the information of knowing that he's playing whatever the exact same way he did last time, I mean, if you'll notice, Brad's the type of guy, he's shuffling them in every time. He doesn't want to leak any information.
Brad tells me that if he does well this weekend, he's going to return to the Chohawk for the next event.
Oh, really?
It's actually funny because Josh Cho, said the same thing. Neither of them currently sporting a Chohawk.
Now, what exactly is the difference between a Chohawk and a Mohawk, other than it took place temporally after Cho top-aided a Pro Tour?
It's just an homage
Is it like
to
a
that
particular
moment.
style? Is it a certain thickness of Mohawk?
Well, if you're familiar with the Chelsea, which is a certain kind of haircut that is kind of just bangs with a shaved head, the Chohawk is similar, except for you have to look as good as Josh Cho when you wear it.
Oh, so very, very few men on Earth are capable of it?
It's true. It's true.
That's impressive.
I think you could rock it, but you'd have to get some more hair. You've got, like me, too short of hair to rock a Chohawk.
I don't know. In my ill-spent youth, I haven't had a Mohawk since Jace the Mind Sculptor was legal. Dude, it's awesome to see the SCG Blue Eyes continuing to build what they're building on their success from Spain. What do you think what do you think Seattle's going to look like for those guys?
Well, I mean, talking with Brad and Jerry a little bit, they are really, really hungry to make that area in around Roanoke a place where it's like they're cooking, right? And they're trying to make it a good meal out of what they've got down there.
Out of what they've got?
Yeah, that's a lot of talent.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they're trying to make do with,
I'm not
Charles
saying make
Gindy,
do.
Brad
No,
Nelson.
I'm not saying make do. That's not
You're
what I'm
saying
trying to communicate.
it's like LSV with Northern California, where he's like, all right, here are the talented people. There's an abnormal number of talented people. Let's build on this and make it something even bigger and better.
Yeah, that's
continue
what I'm
to make
talking
it
about.
grow.
That's what
Absolutely.
I'm talking about. Yeah, I wasn't trying to disparage anybody there at all. So, We got a Plains with the Mycosynth Wellspring.
What do you think about Mycosynth Wellspring as a mana fixer?
It's one of the ones I like a little bit more than others. I definitely like it more than Ichor Wellspring.
Really?
Yeah.
Just because of the reliability early on?
Yeah. I mean, I like New Liliana too.
It'll be interesting. Mycosynth Wellspring says basically and not Swamp Forest Island Plains.
Right, it does say
That's
basic.
too bad.
And we have a Huntmaster on turn 3 from Josh. I see Incinerate, I see Rancor. And Timely for 6 life.
Time is on our side. Yes, it is. Huntmaster's drawback of gaining 2 life coming into play.
And we have a Rancor, a Stranglerootgeist, an Incinerate.
So do you think he just ships the turn so he can get the flip? He's
I'm
not going to
not
be able to help
sure.
himself, will he? No, apparently not.
And there's a Stranglerootgeist. There's a Rancor on the Geist.
Rancor and Stranglerootgeist is such a strong combo.
In comes everybody besides the elf.
The Huntmaster comes in?
2 on the Huntmaster.
Why does 3 not block? Brad, no!
Oh, he does all 3.
Oh.
He heard you.
Wow, just in time. Ah, he makes the even stronger play of faking like he's going to have 2 block, just to give Alvarez that little shred of hope.
Only to tear it away.
What a cruel, cruel man.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, and I'm here with Patrick Chapin. We are in the first round of this 9-round standard event. Brad Nelson bringing a new brew. You might have read about it this week on the Star City Games premium side, trying to get a win this first round. Looks like he might be a little bit starved on mana, or having to choose between quite a few manas. I'm not quite sure. Oh, good. I'm glad to see these got mana. I was worried there for a moment. Nile Spellbomb, ugh, and a pass.
The ever popular Dega wedge. Black, white, red is probably the least played of the 3 color combinations.
That's probably fair. That's probably fair. I was always an Anna person myself. We see the soldier block the Geist. The Rancor is going to go away and be eaten by the Nile Spellbomb.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I think I would go with Grixis. Shockingly.
All Anna all the time here. If I can cast Pernicious Deed and Forcible in the same deck, I'm happy. And we have a Gideon in Brad's hand. 3.
This game is going very well for
6.
Brad Nelson.
Yeah,
Getting his land drops, has his colors, dealt with the Rancor successfully, dealt with the Huntmaster.
It looks like Gideon is murdering the wolf.
Absolutely, Brad just wants to make sure he at least gets some kind of value out of it. Although this does mean that the Gideon is going to die.
Even so, the amount of steam that Gideon takes out.
Whoa. Why did he incinerate the Gideon? It makes me wonder. He has Zealous Conscript in his hand. If he just Zealous Conscripts Gideon, that's 10 right there. And he has the Incinerate in hand and a Huntmaster. I think you got to just go for the kill. I think you got to incinerate. You don't even have to incinerate Brad's face yet, but you have to just Zealous Conscript, steal the Gideon, attack for 10, and then you have in hand Huntmaster and Incinerate, which is good enough for the win, I think.
This is one of those. Whoa, is that a post?
It is a post.
This is one of those moments where the decision of whether to be the control or the beatdown actually is a real thing happening in the mind of the beatdown player. And clearly Josh took a moment to be a little bit more controlling, and he might pay for it now.
Well, no, what's interesting is Zealous Conscript works very well against the trading post. Well, no, it doesn't work that well because Brad's got the mana to use it. Now Brad's going to have to sack his trading post in response. But Brad doesn't have a creature in his yard to get back, does he?
Brad gains 4 with the post.
Oh, no. Why did Alvarez not play Zealous Conscript?
He wants the flip.
Because
He wants the flip.
Huh. Because you can Zealous Conscript the trading post and then sack it to get back one of your other guys.
Day.
Oh, because And Brad doesn't have a creature, so he can't sacrifice, because you can only sacrifice artifacts to get back creatures.
Is it creatures to get artifacts?
No, it's you sack artifacts to get creatures. Right? Or no, you sack artifacts to draw cards. That's
Yeah,
right.
sack artifacts to draw cards.
You sacrifice creatures to get artifacts.
Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely.
And we've got a dead...
Yeah, because you got to sacrifice the goats. That's what they're for.
And Brad getting the trading post. Oh, boy. Sacks this wellspring, gets a mountain. And then gets a card draw. Not a bad card there.
Can I just say, by the way, I absolutely love the fact that we have a timer, that we have the clock that we can just know.
Oh, it's so good to know how much time is left. None of this running around, you know, waving our hands at the judges. Hey, how much time's left? Oh, and a tumble magnet. Okay, this looks really, really wrapped up right now.
And what's really tough is that Brad can gain 4 life a turn when he needs to. This is gonna, if Alvarez can't play one of his 5s real soon.
Go. Oh.
See, I think he had to use that Zealous Conscript earlier to make a big play.
Gain 4, says Brad.
Giving himself a nice little buffer.
The whole post.
At this point, Brad just biding his time, waiting until he can assemble a Wormcoil engine.
I don't even think that a Ancient Grudge saves Josh now.
Sacrifices the goat.
Makes a goat,
Makes
sacks
a
a
goat.
goat.
He trades some life. So last turn he traded a card for some life. This turn he traded some life for a goat, and then traded the goat for a spell bomb, which he traded for a card.
There we go.
Solemn Simulacrum. Things are starting to accelerate. Brad accelerating his mana base, drawing cards, and in a position to actually attack Alvarez.
Alvarez picks up his hand full of stuff. Oh, that's his graveyard, perhaps. No, is that his hand? Has he been waiting this whole time?
Alvarez very casually has 7 cards in his hand. How is this? I mean, he hasn't been playing any cards for the last several turns. It seems weird that he has 7, but maybe they're all like bonfires and incinerates.
And Brad sacrifices the artifact Solemn Simulacrum to draw a card and then draw another card. And it looks like also at the end of the turn he's making a goat.
Why, if you're Alvarez, are you just not... If you have 7 cards in your hand... we saw Strangleroot Geist. We saw... I mean... What?
I don't know. I'm going to tell you, I don't know. Brad at 16.
If anybody at home can tell us what the strategic reason is for Alvarez to continue to play nothing if he has 7 cards in his hand, including a Strangleroot Geist and a Zealous Conscript. I mean, the Zealous Conscript, maybe you're just waiting for a better position, but...
And Brad gets rid of Solemn to draw 2 cards. Puts down a Mox.
Huh. He plays the bird. He's continuing to keep the Strangleroot Geist.
Caveman Kellen on Twitter says there's no reason he should be saying something, or playing something. Well, he played a bird this turn, I guess.
So there's Wormcoil Engine. And this should do it. Is Alvarez, like... Brad even has Tumble Magnet to protect himself against the Zealous Conscript at this point, hitting his Wormcoil Engine. So Alvarez with 6 land, Bird of Paradise, full grip. He's going to have to play something or discard.
Conscript.
Now he plays the Conscript.
And Brad says no.
That's interesting. Is it actually better to sack the Wormcoil there? I suppose it is, because you want to make more and more and more worms. important to note that you cannot, for people at home, you cannot use a sleeve like that is the same color as the sleeves from your deck, right? Or is it just if it has a card in it? You can't use...
I'm not certain. And we have the worms come on in. Brad with such a full hand.
Yeah, Brad also a full grip, but mostly because he's been doing some sick John Medina style trading.
And another worm comes down, and another worm comes down, and another one's down.
Hey, bro, you like goats? I'll trade you this goat for this worm coil engine.
Joshua Alvarez looking for a goat napper, can't find one. He's got green suns in his hand, no useful targets for it.
Green suns needed for 5. What are we looking at? Wolf or Silverheart, just to try to... You're not going to overcome all these worm coils.
Yeah, the worms don't care. You can put a 4 or 5 in the air with one of your birds, and then have it be tapped by the tumble magnet.
Well, things have slipped out of hand. It's too late now. There's too many. It's got. Not only does he have the worms and the worm coil engines, he's got multiple trading posts to get them back, and you can't get rid of the trading posts because one could get the other.
And Brad draws a card. And Whip Flare ×2. Clears up the board. Remember, Whip Flare does not hurt artifact creatures at all. So that's why his worm token is still around. Nile Spellbomb. Oh, no. There you go.
M10 rules, M10 rules. Josh extends the hand.
Good game, Sir Brad, he says.
A well-played game by Brad Nelson. Very well played. Both these last 2 games were very impressive. Brad having the patience, waiting on the time reinforcements. He had at least 4 or 5 defensible lines on turn 4.
Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan.
I'm Patrick Chapin. What's up?
We are here in Buffalo, and it is